Lone Mountain, was a wonderful environment, creative. Lots of younger kids, really, with a lot of enthusiasm. And then after that, it was a neighborhood arts program. Stephen Goldstein, Renee Yanez, Ernie Rivera, the neighborhood arts people. And that's when Jack really started getting involved in neighborhood arts.
I pretty much stopped performing when I left Southern California. But I was more into organizing and then did the technical stuff. So, we were supporting, a half a dozen different events a weekend, all during the year. It took a fair amount. We bought sound systems and built new stages and all that. We had a small production company that we used the CETA workers to help support them. We also supported the gardener program and, had trucks that would move fertilizer around and, all of these odd little things.
Jack was always doing something for somebody. He could never say no. And he helped people, in so many different ways.
And what happened with me was I did this for a couple of years, then my friend John Williams and I had become quite close friends. John was the director of Intersection in North Beach. And I got on his board of directors, and I was very helpful in terms of steering John toward some of the resources that the city had. And between the two of us, we worked out the deal with the Art Commission to put some money into the facility that we had that belonged to the Methodist Church in North Beach in exchange for allowing the community uses that would fit within the program framework of the neighborhood arts program. They basically were, overlapping. They were the same thing, so it worked out very well for both. But John decided to make a big change in his life and move to Oregon. And the board hired me then to become the executive director. One of my very good friends was Bernice Bing, who was the director here of the South of Market Cultural Center. I was also on her board of directors.
This is 76, 77?
Yeah, around there, around the bicentennial period of time. And I made a deal with Bingo. You come and be on my board of directors and then watch my back. And I'll be on your board of directors and I'll watch your back. And so Bingo and I, who had been good friends for a long time, developed a good working relationship during that period of time, and we helped each other out. And through all of this, I think there was, and still to this day, there exists a spirit of sharing rather than a spirit of competition. Some of the sort of higher end art trips get a little bit snooty about their sharing trip, but on the community-based level, if you have a projector and somebody needs one that you're not using, you'll let them have that projector, because next month you may need their 2 instruments that they have.
But Some Arts was much more than just theater. It was a much more broader base for Jack. And apparently, from what I've heard, he was really good at getting grants. Getting money for the arts.
You had to develop a competent managerial profile so that whoever was giving you money would feel comfortable. Now, that wasn't too difficult to do if you were, reasonably methodological, because you're not talking huge amounts of money. You're just talking about, don't forget to write it down in the checkbook. Keep the checkbooks in the same place so you don't have to look for the checkbook. Reconcile your checkbook at the end of every month. And if you did that kind of thing and kept your paper track together, it wasn't, too difficult to compete for funding. But that was a core essential that you had to do. Anyway, I learned that from Tom and from Pauline. So, I was free then to start developing the programming at Intersection, and we did, 3 nights a week of theater, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. On Sundays we had a film program and the first sort of gonzo talent shows. We had untalent contests that Carl Cohen put together. On Tuesday we had poetry readings, and the oldest poetry readings in the country, except for St. Mark's in the Bowery. They were started by Steve Schutzman and Tom Cousin, 2 great guys who were part of the early Artists Foundation of Intersection. Anyway, I ran Intersection for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, which is where I sort of got my experience running nonprofits. My board president was Tom Silk, who was a lawyer and quite knowledgeable, one of the first lawyers who really specialized in nonprofits, a great guy, and we were very, very good friends. The other person who really helped me was a woman named Pauline Prochan. She came out here to start the study center. She was from back in Washington, D.C., and she taught me all I know about keeping track of all the numbers. And she knew it was very important. She learned the numbers at her father's side because he was a bookie. And every night the kids would have to help tote up the thing, and if they made mistakes, Dad would pay.
I knew Jack Davis. We had worked together on lots of projects before, and I knew Jack had been the director of Intersection, and Jack has these abilities to organize, and I had asked him if he would come to our board meetings and become a board member, and Jack agreed, and he did. He came on board as a board member.
Jack just really wanted to help people get what they wanted to do done. And Somarts was really the perfect place for him. He was at Intersection for the Arts for a long time.
So that's what I was doing. I was running Intersection, and Bingo was running Somarts. Unfortunately, Bingo got lupus, and it was a seriously life-altering experience for her, and she made a decision to stop being the director of the program here and move up to the Russian River.
And through the various discussions that took place in reestablishing ourselves, it was suggested that Jack become the executive director, and then I become the board president and Carlos the vice president. And then Jack approached a few other people to come on board as board members. Tom Mazzolini, a board member, David Kennedy, and a few other people. So with this reorganization and Jack in place as executive director, and Jack having a vision, and Jack having contacts and knowledge of all the various organizations, and he knew Carrie Shulman very well, and Carrie knows Jack, and she knows Jack's ability, so she felt very good that Jack had become the executive director of SOMAR.
And basically what I said to the board was, what we have to do is develop this facility. It was a gorgeous facility. The Art Commission didn't have enough money to do the upgrades that were necessary in it. We didn't have a huge amount of money, but I thought that we could do it incrementally, a little bit at a time, if we sort of looked ahead and tried to figure out the right plan of attack. And the way we did it was we'd ask the artists who come in, well, what do you need? And we'd do the best we could about getting it for them right then, but we'd also put it on the list of, okay, well now if we improve this, then it's going to be much easier for us to serve the artists and the community people who come in here. And that's basically what I've been doing here ever since. I've really tried to collect an interesting and very, very broad and diverse set of individuals who work in the facility. So there's not a lot of homogeneity in the group. Everybody's got unique things that they bring to the table, unique cultural backgrounds, unique visions as artists.
I actually had the great privilege of meeting Jack Davis on the first day that I arrived in San Francisco in 1975. I formed a dance company called the Wallflower Order Dance Collective in Eugene, and we came down to tour California. And our first stop was the Neighborhood Arts Theater at Laguna and Haight, and guess who the technical director was? It was Jack Davis. And I have some of these posters, if you'd like to see what a poster looks like from 1978 from the Wallflower Order, 1975. And you can see the thing that is still our legacy is that the donation was $1.50, okay? That was our show. So Jack was the gentle giant in the booth. We were nervous wreck, the four of us coming down from Oregon, and he just guided us through the whole process and did all the lights and did all the sound cues, and he sat way up in the back in this little booth, and you know, he's been in and out of my life since 1975, and I'm forever grateful for that. And I'm going to do a little dance that I created in 1975, which I can barely do because it's probably been 35 years, but it's called War of the Flea, which reminds me of Jack. It's about the continued struggle to keep going and keep having your voice heard no matter what the consequences. And the group is an Asian American group called The Grain of Sand.
And the moon will be my lantern, and my heart will find a way to sow the seeds of courage that will blossom in the day, to fashion up a garden so green before they came. Our joy will be the sunshine, and our tears will be the rain. Song of the night, war of the flea, deep inside the jungle you will find me. War of the small, war of the flea, where the strongest bomb is human, who is bursting to be free. And this cave will be my shelter, and the earth will be my bed, and life will be the pillow upon which I lay my head. Death may come tomorrow, and dreams may come tonight, to frighten off the deep, still remain to fight. Song of the night, war of the flea, deep inside the jungle you will find me. War of the small, war of the flea, where the strongest bomb is human, who is bursting to be free.
For me, it was, just an absolutely wonderful thing, because I got exposed to all of these different, cultural environments that I never in the world could have gotten into had not I fallen into this circumstance. So I would end up working with the people from the different communities, meeting their moms and their dads and their aunties and their nephews and their nieces, and eating their lumpia and their chicken and their whatever they had on their spread, listening to their music, plugging in the musicians, setting up the dance show. And it was just an incredible cultural education for me. And I started to realize the value of it fairly early on. because I was exposed to it in this sort of very, very rich day-to-day way.